Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Corner HVAC. I am glad you joined me today. I had a couple of quick things I wanted to talk to you about, but first, I wanted to say thank you to all the subscribers. I always want to show that I am grateful for all the likes and shares and comments that you guys put on there. The comments mean so much to me. I really enjoy talking to everybody out there from all the different places across the country, actually across the world. I've talked to a lot of people out of the United States. So I do enjoy that. Speaking of one of those subscribers and one of those commenters on there, there's a guy on there. I'm not going to use his name because I don't know if he's given me permission to do so yet or not, but I do want to say thank you and congratulations to him. I first was in contact with him about a year ago. He had commented on a couple of videos that I'd done. I did some videos on how technicians come into the industry and how they learn to do this kind of work and the different options, if it's trade school, on-the-job training, all that kind of stuff. He asked a bunch of questions, and a couple of the questions involved, he was getting ready to turn 50 years old. And he wanted to know if I thought being 50 years old was too old for this trade, to be a service guy. And I said, no, I don't believe so. And I gave him a list of reasons why and what I thought and all that kind of stuff. Either way, I just heard back from him earlier this week, and he wanted to let me know that he aced all of his tests in the trade school that he was taking. So he is officially a certified, licensed, ready to go HVAC service tech at the age of 50 years old. And he has changed careers, he has changed life paths, and all kinds of things. And it all revolves around heating and air, and I got to talk him through it on YouTube a little bit. So I think that's awesome. So hey, if you're out there, I hope you're still watching. I want to give a big thumbs up and thank you for everything, all the comments and all that kind of stuff, and involving me in your journey into this. So that's awesome. But if you are not subscribed yet, don't worry, there's still time. All you got to do is hit that little button down there. You know exactly where it's at. Just scroll down a little bit if you have to. Maybe you got it on full screen, shrink it down, whatever you got to do. Hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, go ahead and share it with a friend, because sharing with your friends is just the right thing to do. And always, I love to see the thumbs up and comments. It lets me know that you guys are actually watching and paying attention and not sleeping. Something along those lines. Because if you're just going to sleep, watching videos to go to sleep, there are much better videos out there than this one. But I do appreciate you watching these. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about before I got into some of the HVAC stuff is I want to let everybody know to keep a lookout for the new book that is going to be available. At this point, I believe we're going to be available on Amazon and maybe a couple other outlets. I do not know just yet. So I will give out dates in the upcoming videos as far as some release dates. But some of the HVAC books will be coming out. So be on the lookout for those, but I'll let you in on a little bit more of those later. But as far as today, I wanted to talk about maintenance. I get so many comments and talk to so many people out there about, well, should I do maintenance? Is it worth it? It sounds like it's just a scam and waste of money. That's total crap. It's not a waste of money whatsoever. Maintenance is one of those things that's necessary on most any mechanical device. I mean, actually anybody out there, if you're sitting there watching these videos, look around the house or look out in your yard or your driveway, garage, whatever it is. What mechanical device do you have out there that doesn't require a little bit of maintenance? Would you go buy a brand new car and drive it for 10 years and never change the oil and then complain to somebody when the engine blows up 10 years later? You wouldn't do that. So why in the world would you do that with your furnace or your air conditioner? So, if you're interested on what needs to be done on maintenance and some of these things, in particular on air conditioners, heat pumps, geos, furnaces, whatever, I've got some other videos out there to show you some of the key points that they need to hit. But today I just wanted to talk about why maintenance is important, because it is. For all the homeowners out there that are watching these, I have come to the realization that I have a lot more homeowners watching than I do service techs on certain videos. And, I appreciate it either way. Either viewer that I have or both is awesome. But maintenance, homeowners need to know that maintenance is one of the biggest things that you have to do with this piece of equipment. I hear all kinds of things about, people say, well, contractors are just trying to get extra money by getting maintenance. That's not it at all. We want to see longevity of the equipment. We want to see efficiency of the equipment. We want to see less breakdowns, all these kind of things. I was told a long time ago, if it's made by man, it's doomed to fail eventually, which I find to be pretty accurate. It was made by man. It is going to quit at some point in time, or it could quit. Maintenance will not 100% prevent any kind of breakdowns. Don't let anybody tell you that, because it's not true. But we can reduce the risk of breakdowns. One of the biggest things, probably 75 to 80% of all service calls revolve around maintenance. Either somebody's let something go too long, they heard a noise and didn't pay any attention, they haven't cleaned the thing in 15 years. Of course something is going to get dirty and it's going to break, it's going to quit working, motor's going to go out, whatever. Something could happen. So, we can reduce the likeliness of having to have service calls, because everybody knows, service calls don't normally happen at like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. If you do, you're really lucky. Normally it's like Saturday night at like 11 o'clock. The contractor that comes out is obviously charging after hours rates because, well, it's after hours. It's Saturday at night. It's just the same as, you're inconvenienced by your furnace not working when you want it to. It's 0 degrees outside and your furnace doesn't quit and it's late on a Saturday night. It's inconvenient for you. Well, the contractor has to come out after hours too. Everybody's on overtime rates. Everybody is, being dispatched from different places depending on how the company works. There's a lot involved there. So of course it costs a little bit more money to have somebody come out after hours. So, we can reduce that with just basic maintenance. That's all it takes. Some of those extra costs, those inconveniences, things like that. Longevity of the equipment. Like I said, with a brand new car, you're not going to buy a car, drive it for 10 years and never change the oil and then expect it to be just fine. The better we take care of those things, the longer they're going to run. If we get in there and we see a capacitor on the blower motor is starting to go a little low or starting to read a little low, well, that will eventually destroy that motor. Well, if we can replace that very inexpensive capacitor before the motor, which is definitely more expensive, if we can replace that capacitor before the motor fails, why wouldn't we do that? That's just one of those preventative things. Just the same as keeping it clean. You as the homeowner, you are responsible for air filters in between the maintenance calls. Most maintenance programs come out twice a year, usually traditionally spring and fall. Some do midsummer, midwinter. Everybody's got their preference. Either way, it's 2 times a year. We just have regular maintenance done. Changing filters in between those times is up to you. If you only like changing it twice a year, there are options out there. Actually, where I'm at, we offer a filter that on average they usually last 6 months. I've seen some cases at 4. I've seen some at 7 or 8 months. It just depends on the house and all that kind of thing goes along with that. But the idea is on average 6 months. At that point, you only need 2 a year. If you got a maintenance program where somebody's coming out twice a year, hey, they can change it for you. You don't ever have to worry about it. Because isn't that one of the biggest things that homeowners want? As a homeowner myself, one of my biggest things is I don't want to have to worry about anything. Well, if you're having somebody, a professional, look at your equipment and keeping an eye on it, making sure everything's working like it's supposed to, making sure everything's staying clean, it's operating as efficiently and as effectively as possible, it's one less thing for you to have to worry about. So, we have that factor. And then, longevity, like I said, is a huge, huge part of that. If we can keep them going, keep them clean, just like changing those filters, if we keep everything clean, keep it like it's supposed to be, it will last a lot longer. I've seen furnaces out there that are more than 30 years old that look the same as the day they came out of the box, but they've had religious maintenance done to them twice a year, every year for that 30-some years. Now, granted, those are some special cases. Not all of them are going to last 30 years. Be honest with you, most of them these days don't last 30 years. I've got another video that's going to be coming out about some of the life expectancies of equipment these days, because there's a lot of argument about that. But furnaces they're not made to last 30, 40 years anymore. But either is anything else out there. And you can't just knock the HVAC industry that, they're just making it cheap so they can sell new ones. No, that's not how that works. It's just like everything else. It's not made to last as long as it used to. When's the last time you bought a new car or a truck and you drove it for 40 years? That's not really a thing. If you take the runtime of the average gas furnace and air conditioner, if you take the hours of runtime, there's actually a math calculation you can do for mileage, which would be versus mileage on a vehicle. And there is more mileage on your HVAC equipment than there is the average car that gets driven every day in the United States. There's all kinds of studies out there about it, but it depends on where you're at and all those different variables. But the fact is these things run nonstop or run a lot. Especially in cold climates, hot climates, all that. So we have to take care of these things. So, longevity is a big one. Efficiency is one of the biggest things for me because we want to see them as efficient as possible. If you spent the money on a 96% efficient furnace, don't you want it to run that efficient? I mean, do you want it to only be running at half its capacity, half its standard, half of the efficiency that it's supposed to be? Why would you do that? But if nobody's looking after it, if a professional's not looking at it, nobody knows if it actually is or not. These maintenance calls, technicians, because we do use professionals when we used to have technicians come out and do our maintenance, they should be checking your combustion on a gas furnace. They should be checking your static pressure on a ducted system. They should be checking your Freon every time. They should be washing the coils. They should be making sure the evaporator coil inside's clean. They should be make sure the blower wheel's clean. How often is the blower wheel forgotten on some of these maintenances? I mean, that's one of the biggest things. If you have a blower wheel that is filthy dirty for some reason, maybe the people before you didn't change the filter, maybe you're the one not changing the filter, or whatever it may be, and all that dirt and dust got in there, and it's only pushing half the capacity of air that it's supposed to be able to. Yeah, you've just lost all of your efficiency and capacity, so you're probably not going to be very comfortable. There's a lot of different failure points at that. So, cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to HVAC equipment. So just make sure it's staying clean is one of the big things that the professionals do when they take a look at it. So, I also hear these things, and I do have another video out there about 80% versus 90% furnace. I'm not going to get into that too big, but there are a lot of comments. Actually, the other videos I got tons of negative comments about, 90% furnaces require more maintenance. 90% furnaces have more failure rates. 90% furnaces have this, they have that. That's dumb. In my opinion, I don't know why any contractor in this country would ever sell an 80% furnace. It's ludicrous to me. The price difference is not actually that much. Now, if you've got a contractor saying it's like $5,000-$10,000 more to go from an 80% furnace to a 90% furnace, they're ripping you off because that's not reality. That's not what it is. It's not that big of a jump to go to a higher efficiency furnace. And the fact that there's all these tree huggers out there that, I apologize, I should not have said tree huggers. If you are a tree hugger, I apologize. Hug away. But there's all these people out there that want all these extra efficiencies, and they want to be green, and they want to be, do all these things to save the planet and all of that. Why in the world would you put an 80%, the least efficient furnace you can buy on the market? Why would you buy that? When it's just a couple of bucks more to get a 90. And then, so back to my original point, that, these people came out there and they were HVAC techs. They obviously worked for lower end contractors because they said they only put in and they only sell 80% furnaces. So obviously a low end contractor to begin with. They're not out there looking for the homeowner's best benefit. They're not looking for efficiency, longevity, warranty status, all these different things that come with these other pieces of equipment. They want to sell the bare bones basis, get out, and my guess, and this is speculation, but my guess is sell it, get out, and never come back. I'm not that way. I would rather see a homeowner be happy with a high-end, high-efficiency piece of equipment, and then they have a nice, beautiful ride, for the next 15, 20 years with warranties that protect them all the way, so it don't cost them another dime. They save, half on their half on their utility bills just by the efficiencies, and they have a quiet, good, solid piece of equipment. That's just me. Anyways, they say that 90% furnaces require more maintenance. I would like to see data proving on how this is actually a thing. Did you know that other than the fact of obviously better utility bills with a 90 versus an 80, the only thing that actually makes a 90% furnace different than an 80% furnace is the secondary heat exchanger. 80% furnaces only have one single primary heat exchanger. 90%ers have a primary heat exchanger and then it has a secondary. That's the only thing that is different on that furnace. They want to list out all the parts about, you got an inducer. Yes, you do have an inducer. You also do on an 80%er. The 90%ers, they just have to be plastic cased because there is condensation. There is condensation because of that secondary heat exchanger, which means they do have to have a drain. There is a 3/4 inch PVC a condensate drain line. Yeah. It's a drain line. What about it? That's not adding any more maintenance to anything. You make sure the drains stay clear. As long as you're using at minimum 3/4 schedule 40 3/4 inch PVC, you're not going to have any problems. Now you get those contractors out there that want to use like 1/2 inch CPVC. For you guys that don't know the difference, it's the yellower stuff. It's usually a little bit smaller. Yeah, the inner hole of that is like that big around. Yeah, they are prone to plug up. I wouldn't use that on anything in my house whatsoever. There's no reason for it. So if you use 3/4 PVC, like what's recommended by the manufacturer, don't typically have very many problems. So I don't really see where they say we have a lot more maintenance with a 90 versus 80. I think that's total crap. But to each his own, whatever. Low-end contractors, they can sell whatever they want to sell, and they're doing it by the thousands. So, that's how it is. But as far as regular maintenance for your system, it's needed. It needs to be done in order to keep the thing efficient, be able to keep it longer, be able to make sure you have as few breakdowns as possible. If you are one of those blessed individuals that runs 20 years and never has to have a service call, that is awesome. I'm glad to hear it, but that doesn't happen for everyone. So if you look at the averages and the statistics, they all have breakdowns eventually. So maintenance can help with that. Most of your contractors out there, at least the good contractors, excuse me, the professionals, they're offering maintenance programs of different sorts. There's a lot of different styles that contractors do out there. Now, there is a difference between a service agreement and a maintenance agreement. We may have it hit up on another video on those, but the maintenance agreements, usually you get extra benefits like discounts and priority service and all this different kind of stuff. Every contractor is going to be different, but the maintenance programs, usually you can get that maintenance done a little less expensive than if you just called, every fall I call and I say, hey, come check my furnace out. Well, it costs more money if it's just one time. If you buy the maintenance program, usually you get 2 visits within a year and you get extra bonuses. So why wouldn't you do a maintenance program? So that's what I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, need to go in a little bit deeper, further, anything like that, just let me know. Hit me up in the comments. You guys know how to do it. It's YouTube. We all do YouTube. So you all know how to do it. Hit me up if you do have anything. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and be looking for the new book when it comes out. Other than that, thank you and God bless.